Today on Investigate TV Plus, a case of over-medication that nearly killed a grandmother. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Her own daughter in prison, but her family says a doctor shares the blame. Plus,
first time I saw this kit, I was astonished.
Doctors send out a warning about outdated first aid kits on commercial flights. We take an in-depth look at the critical equipment that's missing.
This is a much more common problem than people may realize, and it can really cost parents big.
Children using their parents' credit card to make more in-app purchases. The options available if your child racks up a big bill.
And Vintage Vegas, the museum tells Sin City's history through neon lights.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. A woman accused of trying to kill her own mother after she put her in hospice and helped give her powerful medication.
A doctor's involvement in this near-deadly overdose was recently revealed in a now settled lawsuit. Investigator Andy Parati explains how the daughter and doctor were implicated.
Sheriff deputies and a county coroner respond to a home in 2017. They're told a woman inside, Shirley Couch, may just have hours to live.
Miss Shirley? Miss Shirley? Oh, you hurting, baby?
My mom's lying lifeless in a bed. She's in a coma.
Deputies in this North Georgia home find vials of morphine and bottles of antipsychotics in the room. Look at the coroner's face.
Oh, she's got a patch.
When she discovers someone placed fentanyl patches on Shirley, a powerful combination of narcotics usually restricted to patients shortly before death, all administered to Shirley, who was secretly placed in hospice care by a family member.
She's actually being overdosed.
Was your mom dying?
Absolutely not.
Christy Carr is Shirley's youngest daughter. What was she doing in hospice care?
That was my question exactly.
Who admitted Shirley into hospice? Renee Bonner, Shirley's oldest daughter, who worked at Homestead Hospice as an administrative assistant. Suspicious of her big sister, Christy called 911.
We are watching a murder, and I'm not going to stand by and watch it happen anymore.
In 2019, a judge found Renee guilty of attempted murder. In 6 years after the family was told their mother was knocking on death's door, Shirley's still alive. What did you think when you woke up from the coma?
I was so confused. I didn't know where was I at, but to have your child trying to kill you, that's hard to live with.
But that's not the end of the story. Shirley's family believes someone else is to blame for nearly killing their mother, someone who never met her. He's Dr. James Shiver.
No, I did not see her physically.
Seen here in a 2021 deposition, part of a recently settled lawsuit the family filed against the doctor. He's the former medical director for Homestead Hospice. In the deposition, Shiver claims he prescribed Shirley morphine, fentanyl, and other drugs, but only after consulting with nurses on the phone, caring for Shirley. According to court records filed by Shirley's attorney, which includes the doctor's Verizon call logs, Shiver and the nurses never spoke.
And this is an empty vial.
Okay.
Multiple requests for an on-camera interview with Dr. Shiver went unanswered, but over the phone, he denies any wrongdoing. Dr. Shiver claims he can't remember speaking with Shirley's nurses, telling me whether or not they were and when they were called, I don't know.
God is the only one that decides when it's our time. Because in my opinion, how's that any different than putting a gun to your head and pulling the trigger? They're just doing it with drugs.
While Shirley's family submitted a complaint to the medical board, the agency declined to confirm or deny whether it's investigating Dr. Shiver. But emails and texts our team reviewed between Shirley's daughter, Christy, and a medical board investigator show the agency is looking into a complaint filed by the family. Homestead Hospice was acquired by a different company after Shirley's incident. Its new owners declined to comment.
Taking a closer look at hospice care, according to the American Cancer Society, hospice is a special kind of care that focuses on quality of life for someone who's experiencing an advanced illness and treatment can no longer control it. Hospice provides medical care for people with a life expectancy of 6 months or less. It's not designed to prolong life. Some of the signs hospice is needed include a patient has less desire to eat, significant weight loss, and body changes. Hospice care can be done in someone's home, a nursing facility, or hospital. AARP suggests caregivers research hospice agencies and identify the top choice or choices before the care is needed. Congress made hospice a permanent Medicare benefit in 1985. You can learn more about hospice on Medicare.gov.
Now to a health warning as more Americans return to air travel. According to a 2019 report from the CDC, about 1 of every 600 flights has an in-flight medical emergency. Now there's a group of doctors sounding the alarm about inadequate in-flight medical kits on some flights. Investigator Rachel DePompa finds out what's inside those kits and what's missing.
I'm going to go ahead and declare a medical emergency as well. It's actually the captain that's not doing well.
A Southwest flight from Las Vegas to Columbus, Ohio.
So we need to get him on the ground immediately. So we are an emergency aircraft at this point.
The captain falls ill with stomach pain and faints. An off-duty pilot saves the day and lands the plane back in Vegas. From pilots to flight attendants and passengers.
Do you have any medical personnel on board?
Medical emergencies are on the rise as travel increases and the population ages. The Centers for Disease Control estimates about 1 in every 600 flights has a medical emergency. Doctors are warning when the call for help comes down the aisle, they don't always have what they need to help you.
100% of the times that I've asked for those kits, they were either absent or incomplete.
Dr. Leo Nisola is talking about emergency medical kits on flights. All airlines are required by the Federal Aviation Administration to carry these bags filled with 25 mandatory items to save your life. The kits include a stethoscope, aspirin, a blood pressure cuff, and epinephrine to treat allergic reactions, but not an EpiPen, in pre-measured doses, which makes the drug easier to inject. Neither the FAA nor Congress has updated what's required inside these kits for nearly 2 decades. Dr. Nisola's helped in at least 5 in-flight emergencies.
I think those kits are usually outdated, the ones that I've come across, and could definitely use some improvement.
First time I saw this kit, I was astonished that they did not have something as basic as a glucometer, which is a blood sugar monitor.
Dr. Amy Faith Ho works in a Texas ER and has helped with medical emergencies on multiple flights. She says some airlines are going above and beyond to add more items and medications to their kits, just not all of them. In 2020, the FAA issued guidance to airlines encouraging them to include more. It's still not mandatory to add the extra items.
Should this be better regulated? Should there be a uniform policy for all airlines and not airlines electing to do things or not do them?
But I absolutely think that this needs to be centralized and regulated in one place so that you can know what you might have on any given airline.
MedAir is a company that makes medical kits filled with more than the FAA requires. 16 airlines around the world use these kits, but not every U.S. airline. MedAir did not disclose which carriers are involved, but Alaska Airlines and Delta told us they use the kits. Dr. Paulo Alves is the company's global medical director. He led a 2019 task force created by the FAA to review what new items need to be in these kits. It made several recommendations.
The FAA is actually the governmental agency responsible for enforcing the medical kits and controlling the medical kits. But they don't define the content of the medical kit.
There's no government agency tracking all in-flight medical emergencies, so we asked the FAA for a list. The agency eventually discovered it does track some of these incidents. So we analyzed what it gave us and found more than 400 medical emergencies on commercial flights in the last 5 years. We found passengers falling ill, having seizures, a passenger with a broken leg from turbulence, a flight attendant inadvertently stuck with an insulin shot while trying to help a passenger with a diabetic issue.
In a statement, the FAA told us it's reviewing the emergency medical kit requirements based on the input from this task force. Though changing the official list of requirements for these kits means Congress has to act. Until then, some of the emergency medical kits on flights continue to be outdated and inconsistent.
If you are a patient and you are traveling, please, please, please make sure that you keep any of your life-saving medications with you. Do not check it. Do not put it in your luggage.
Our investigators reached out to 8 major U.S. airlines. All that responded said their medical kits comply with FAA requirements. You can read those full statements on InvestigateTV.com. Spirit and American Airlines did not respond to our request. Still to come, costly in-app charges by children hit families by surprise. The steps you can take to protect your credit card.
But first, improving someone's odds of survival during a medical emergency.
We just pushed on this guy's chest continuously until people showed up.
But not everyone is willing to perform CPR. The racial barriers standing in the way of life-saving care and the people working for change.
According to the CDC, 90% of people who suffer cardiac arrest outside of the hospital die. But doctors say CPR can improve those odds because it helps keep blood flowing when the heart stops.
We take a closer look at CPR and the steps you can take to save a life.
Started to have a conversation. Next thing I know, I'm in the back of an ambulance.
George Sylvester was on a Valentine's Day shopping trip at an Atlanta area shopping mall when he collapsed and went into cardiac arrest. The 48-year-old high school and college referee had no history of heart disease.
If not for her, then in all likelihood, I'm not standing here. I don't have a life.
Fortunately, Paige Harmon saw what happened to George and knew exactly what to do.
We just pushed on this guy's chest continuously until people showed up.
According to the American Heart Association, CPR can triple the chances a patient survives cardiac arrest. Hands-only CPR allows someone to keep life-saving blood flowing through the body of a cardiac arrest victim by just pressing on the chest in a hard and fast rhythm. The medical professionals we spoke to say you shouldn't be afraid of hurting the patient because at the moment their heart stops, they're clinically dead.
So no matter what you feel or hear or think you're hurting them, you're not. And the worst thing you can do is just watch them until we get there. The worst thing you can do is nothing.
But nothing is exactly what's happening in some cases. Research published in the October 2022 edition of the New England Journal of Medicine shows several disparities among those suffering cardiac arrest in public. Researchers found people in low-income and predominantly black neighborhoods were less likely to receive CPR from a stranger than those who live in predominantly white neighborhoods with higher income. And women are less likely to receive CPR than men.
And I think there's many reasons, cultural reasons, societal reasons. So, people may be afraid or embarrassed to expose a woman's anatomy or to expose her breast.
Aubrey Nemeth is a nurse anesthetist and teaches CPR in Cleveland, Ohio. Aubrey says she stresses the importance of awareness in her classes, which includes educating people about the myths when it comes to giving aid to women in cardiac arrest.
Maybe a little bit faster there.
Aubrey says she tries to make the training as realistic as possible, which includes using mannequins with female anatomy. She says it helps students be better prepared to jump into action.
Don't hesitate, act fast. If a female is down and she's not responsive, you're going to attempt to save her life and give her chest compressions.
As for George, he's now good friends with the woman who helped to save his life and is thankful for every day.
There are some people in this world that truly care about the well-being of others, and she's definitely one of those people.
Coming up, a legacy in lights.
You show anybody in the world a photo of the Las Vegas Strip, they know exactly what they're looking at.
We'll take you to the museum that's home to dozens of neon signs synonymous with Sin City.
But first, app angst.
He has autism, it's hard for him to recognize consequences for his actions.
One mom's message to you after her 7-year-old son went on a spending spree.
Kids racking up hefty charges when left to your devices. A 2020 study by Statista found about 40% of families spend between $10 and $100 each month on in-app purchases.
Any busy parent will tell you having a few fun games and learning apps on their phone can be a real lifesaver. However, a single mom in Arizona got a shock when her son spent hundreds of dollars on Roblox without her knowing. Reporter Brooke Wagner shows us the steps she took to get her money back.
Kayla Howard wasn't laughing when her bank called about $897 worth of unauthorized charges just before Christmas.
He's on his tablet.
The Arizona single mom of 4 working 2 jobs discovered her son made in-app purchases on Roblox, her kid's favorite game.
He's 7. He has autism, it's hard for him to recognize consequences for his actions.
When she first reached out to Google Play and Roblox, she got a $10 refund. But following up, we learned Roblox eventually refunded her the full amount. Not every parent is that lucky.
So this is a much more common problem than people may realize, and it can really cost parents big.
RJ Cross with the Public Interest Network hears from parents a lot. She says never before have kids had this kind of access to tools that could allow them to spend their parents' money.
Unfortunately, there's pretty limited recourse that parents can pursue. Each app provider has its own policy. So if it's an Apple or Google app, for example, then they actually do have a form you can fill out to get a refund, but you have to be fast. They want you to fill that out within about 2 days.
She says do not wait until you get your credit card statement. It'll be too late. You can try disputing the charge with your credit card company, but it's not guaranteed because a child making purchases isn't legally fraud. In fact, even if your credit card company reaches out to you because charges look suspicious, that still doesn't mean you'll get refunded.
It doesn't make sense overall that so many kids apps have the ability to make in-app purchases. It would be better if we just set limits that said certain types of opportunities to spend money just shouldn't exist inside of apps that are designed for kids.
The government has already taken action against Google and Apple regarding in-app purchases and is still looking closely at games that entice kids to spend money. So there may be more regulatory action to come. In the meantime, tech expert Andy Taylor says in-app purchases are not going away. They're big business.
They're making millions of dollars on in-app purchases. That's where the money is.
He's right. The latest study by Statista shows in about 40% of families, kids spend between $10 and $100 each month on in-app purchases. More than 8% spend more than $100.
That's why they make these games available either free or cheap, because that's how they make their money.
If all else fails, you can lodge a complaint with the FTC. You might even get to join a class action suit, though that would take even longer to get just some of your money back.
When my kids were younger, we actually had to hide our phones. My daughter actually mistakenly made a big purchase on Amazon, and luckily we were able to return it. But I can't imagine the charges out there by so many people that they don't want.
I'm just lucky this hasn't happened to me yet. But you have to talk to your kids and keep an eye on them.
Emphasis on yet. You
Yet.
just said, right?
Yet.
All right. The Federal Trade Commission has already taken action against Google and Apple regarding in-app purchases and is still looking at games that entice kids to spend money.
The experts we spoke to say the best way to protect yourself and your child is by monitoring their play. Most popular games have parental controls that allow you to set time and spending limits.
All that glitters is old.
But the city has a really unique history.
Telling the history of Las Vegas through lights. Coming up after the break, we'll take you on a tour of the Neon Museum. Glowing Glittering and vintage, the Neon Museum in Las Vegas is a bright light in the desert that's more than just sight.
Yeah, the museum tells the story of Las Vegas through neon. Reporter Kim Passoff takes us on a tour of Vegas history.
Folks, we're going to head on into Fremont Street now.
It is the most electrifying museum in Las Vegas.
We've grown dramatically.
A tribute to the bright lights that define the city.
You show anybody in the world a photo of the Las Vegas Strip, they know exactly what they're looking at.
The Neon Museum's collection of colossal signs sit on 2¼ acres, giving off the trademark glow Las Vegas is known for.
A lot of people think of us as just a place to come and gamble, have a good time, but the city has a really unique history with our railroad routes all the way up into what we are today as kind of the entertainment capital of the world.
Walking through the Neon Boneyard, where many of the signs now call home, is literally a walk through the history and culture of Las Vegas.
In fact, this was the first place I came to when I moved here to learn about the city, the history of the city.
Sarah Plans is the senior docent at the Neon Museum. She now shares that history to both locals who grew up when the signs were still in their original locations, to tourists from around the world.
From Australia, from Europe, from Asia, from all different kinds of walks of life, people that speak English, people that don't speak English. We actually have Spanish tours here at our museum now.
The goal is to share the history, artistry, and culture of the city of Las Vegas with as many people as possible.
That building is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. It's the only active casino in our city that still bears that title. History
brought to light and preserved for all to enjoy well into the future.
And that's it for us. From Investigate TV Plus, I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Thanks for watching. Next time on Investigate TV Plus.
We have a house explosion. Holy
Natural gas leaks with devastating consequences. We show you the danger that could be putting your family at risk.